Hi, I'm Sabine, the Purpose Lawyer. Thank you for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast. It really goes a long way. It helps us spread the good word. And if you or anybody you know is in the market for legacy or estate planning or business or trademarks, please reach out to our firm. It's the Ambitious Legacy Firm. We are licensed in New York and New Jersey, but we have service partners in all states. So we'd love to work with you. Asset protection, legacy planning, trademarks. We got you. All right. So it's the ambitiouslegacyfirm.com. Now let's get into the episode. Welcome to another episode of Sabine's Common Sense. I'm your host, Sabine, the Purpose Lawyer. Thank you for listening and thank you for helping me be on purpose. So today I wanted to talk about, why business owners should actually consider, making sure that they have a legacy plan in place. I don't think it's really a consideration. I think it's something that you need to have. Especially if you are a business owner. So I wanted to talk about 3 reasons why you should put a plan in place. And one of the major reasons when you are running a business is, and most people, have this point of view that maybe just having a will in place is good enough. And I have nothing against wills. We do use them as part of planning. But typically as a business owner, will is not going to be the best way for you to transition your business. Why? Because a will has to go through the court system, right? I've talked to you guys about probate and how long it could take and how expensive it can be. But the biggest thing about it is the delay, right? So because now this business would be caught up in the legal system, you're dealing with delay, you're not in control of the time, and you don't have access to cash or capital, right? So because of that, that obviously is going to be a problem for the business. There could certainly be a cash flow issue, and maybe the business doesn't, survive that outcome, right? Because of that time and energy. So the better thing to do would be to put your business in a trust. Why? Having your business in a trust, there is no delay, essentially, right? It's an instantaneous transition because you will have somebody in place who would be called a trustee, and that person would be able to continue on the running of the business. The show continues if your family is dependent on the income from that business, or maybe someone needs to run it in the interim while your child grows up, at least there's someone in place to do so and nothing sort of stops, right? The other thing is that the trust may be able to protect from some debts that are personal to you and that could have potentially affected your business. But because you've planned in such a way, now you're avoiding a certain level of debt. So it's certainly one of the reasons why business owners should consider planning is to make sure that you can incorporate a trust into your financial picture. And I typically don't tell people blanketly, everybody needs a trust, and of course it depends on what type of business you have, things like that. But generally it's going to be a part of the picture. So the number 2 reason why you want to consider planning as a business owner is because of, in the case that you are either incapacitated, meaning you don't have your faculties, you cannot make decisions for yourself, or maybe you're just ill, right? Maybe it's just a temporary situation. It happens. And so if you had some planning in place, you would have what's called, or you should have what's called a power of attorney. And your power of attorney needs to be a really comprehensive power of attorney. It means it should have all the bells and whistles, right? And why do you need that? Because if you are ill, so you're alive, but you're ill or you're not well, you can have somebody to immediately step in and continue to do the things that you would do for your finances. Not only that, you can have somebody to care for you as a guardian or a conservator or something like that you chose, and you got to decide who will make those decisions for you, not the courts. And it certainly would alleviate your business from going through a whole lot of unnecessary issues. So number 2 reason is getting yourself a power of attorney to make sure that if you're incapacitated or ill, that there's something to, alleviate that. The 3rd reason is what happens if you're in a partnership and one of your partners pass away, right? So now whether the financial burden is just left to you or the burden of the business is just left to you, or you're now in partnership with that person's family member, you want to make sure that within your plan, a buy-sell agreement was considered. Why? Because this is something that's going to sort of lay out what happens in this scenario where someone passes away? Like what's the role of their family member? Like how are we going to continue to run the business on? How are we going to buy them out? Because typically you don't want just a stranger coming in who doesn't have the same skill set to be able to just be your partner in the business, right? But say that family member wants to be bought out, or that person's family wants to be bought out, which often happens. I had a story where these business owners, one of them passed away, unfortunately, due to COVID, completely unexpected, out of the blue, and they didn't have a buy-sell agreement. They didn't have insurance. So that's a two-part. So you want the agreement and you want to have insurance. You want to wait for that transaction to be funded, because maybe 50% of your business is not liquid to be able to buy out a family member or whatever that percentage is. So to think about these things ahead of time, have the hard conversations, and make sure that you're secure, knowing that if something happens, the business keeps running, and or the business has the ability to be sold for value, and that your family and everyone else continues to benefit as you intended. And or if you're just ill, that you are able to just step back into the picture and all will be well.